In the world of programming, there are tools that are powerful, tools that are useful, and then there are a few that are just plain dangerous. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on a function so notorious, so infamous, that a lot of developers have a pretty simple name for it: evil.
Yeah, people really call it the nuclear option, and believe me, that is not an exaggeration. We're talking about a single line of code that looks like a simple shortcut, but it has the power to unleash absolute chaos on your application, your server, and even your users' data.
I mean, just really think about that for a second. What if one single command in your code could become a wide open backdoor for an attacker to do all of that? Because, well, that's exactly the kind of power we are talking about today.
And the function right at the heart of this storm is evaluate. So in this explainer, we are going to dissect exactly what this thing is, why it's a complete minefield of risk, and maybe most importantly, what you, as a professional, should be using instead.
Okay, so let's get into it. At its core, the idea behind eval is actually pretty simple. You hand it a piece of text, a string, and it tells the language's interpreter, hey, don't just read this, I want you to treat this as live, executable code and run it right now.
So what's really going on here? Well, eval isn't some kind of magic trick. It's actually forcing your program to stop everything it's doing and act like a full-blown compiler right in the middle of its run. This whole process, parsing the string, compiling it into machine code, and then finally running it, is a really heavy, complex operation that's happening on the fly. And that, as you'll see, has some pretty serious consequences.
So why all the dire warnings? I mean, why is this one function so universally feared? Well, it really all boils down to three catastrophic risks that make using evaluating a fundamentally terrible idea in pretty much every scenario.
First, and this is the big one, is security. Using eval with any kind of external input isn't just like leaving a door unlocked. No, it's more like tearing the doors and windows right off your house and then putting up a giant sign that says, "Welcome, intruders." So, here's the crucial point. The second you pass data from a user into eval, you are basically handing them the keys to the kingdom. They can run any command they want on your system. This is what's known as arbitrary code execution, and for a hacker, that is the absolute holy grail. And this example just perfectly illustrates the danger. Let's say you built a simple calculator. You're expecting nice, normal input like 9 plus 5. But a malicious user comes along and gives you the string on the right. In Python, that command tells the server to delete every single file it can get its hands on. And to a value, there's absolutely no difference. Both strings are just code to be executed, no questions asked. All right, let's move on to the second major risk. Because on top of being a total security nightmare, eval is also a performance killer. It actively sabotages the speed of your entire application. You see, modern language engines are brilliant. They analyze and heavily optimize your code before it even runs. But the moment the compiler sees evaluating, it basically throws its hands up in defeat. It can't predict or optimize code that doesn't even exist yet. This forces it down a much, much slower path, creating a performance bottleneck not just for the evaluation call itself, but for all the code that surrounds it too. And as if catastrophic security holes and major performance hits weren't enough, there's a third reason. Evaluating makes a developer's job a living nightmare when inevitably something goes wrong. Think about it. Code running inside Evaluator is like a ghost in the machine. When it breaks, the error messages are completely cryptic, usually with no file or line number to help you. Your debugging tools can't step through it properly, and worst of all, it can reach out and secretly change variables in the surrounding code, causing these bizarre bugs that are almost impossible to trace. It is a recipe for unmaintainable code. Okay, so after all that, you're probably wondering, is there ever a reason to use this function? And the answer is yes, but its correct uses are incredibly specialized. They really belong to the world of people building programming tools, not the people building applications. The key takeaway here is really all about trust and context. I mean, when you open your browser's developer console and type in some code, you're using a tool that's built on principles that are pretty similar to evaluate. But here's the crucial difference. The code being executed is your code. It's from a trusted developer. It is never, ever executing code from some anonymous, untrusted user. So what do you do? What do you do when you face a problem that seems like it needs eval? Well, the great news is that for pretty much every legitimate use case you can think of, there is a safer, a faster, and a far more professional alternative already built right into the language.
Consider this slide your official cheat sheet for doing things the right way. Do you need to parse JSON? Don't even think about eval, you use JSON parse. Need to access an object property with a variable name? Just use bracket notation. It's cleaner, it's faster, and it's 1,000 times safer. For every common problem, there's a purpose-built, secure solution waiting for you.
So let this be your personal rule, your professional mantra. The next time you're tempted by what looks like a quick shortcut, just say to yourself, I will never write evaluate into a production application. Period. End of story.
And really, that brings us to the final thought here. The story of evalual is way more than just a warning about one bad function. It's a powerful lesson about looking past convenience to understand the true cost of the tools we use. It really challenges us to ask what other easy solutions out there might be hiding huge risks just beneath the surface. Always stay critical and always stay curious.